All right, today we are going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action compared to the altcoin market. And then also towards the end of this video, we are going to be looking at fractals from the past to give some arguments for the bear case so we are not staying biased on this channel. But let's jump into current price action, talk about this sideways chop that we are still in, still just a crab market, looking for that inevitable short squeeze. As we can see, we are slowly trending up, trying to break out, and on each one of these breaks, we are making higher lows and backtesting higher levels. Currently, we have just backtested our point of control of the month, so that is really good to see there. On our 4-hour time frame, structurally this just looks really good. It looks like a beach ball underwater getting round up, ready to launch up to the upside. But because markets are all about liquidity, especially when it does come to crypto, there are a lot of longs in this range. There are a lot of stops behind this low right here. Do not be surprised if Bitcoin were to come up, come all the way back down, sweep these leveraged positions before flying to the upside, or even just rolling now to grab that before heading on up. Do not be scared if these lows get broken. We just want to make sure that this golden pocket gets held on, at least 4-hour daily closes, larger time frame closes. As long as we can hold this wick within the fibs here, that's all good. Don't be worried if we do come down into these fibs. It could even be a good long opportunity because you have a clear entry and clear invalidation on that position. But really, these lows are valid, and we are seeing a lot of buyer step in, which we'll get into in a second. Holding this point of control, that is really good to see. I would not be surprised at all for Bitcoin to just launch up out of here, find bullish continuation, and then backtest these value area highs of the month as support and send on up, squeezing past 72K, which will send us to all-time highs. I wanted to look at our daily time frame here because we had talked about this money flow on market cipher, which is this green and kind of red wave that comes in here on that indicator. And historically, when you have money flow crossing into the green, can signal large and violent uptrends in the market, specifically on that daily time frame. Looking back at when we had the grayscale ETF launch, you can see we had dipped back into the red here, and then as soon as we got back into the green, was right here, instantly shot up into a parabola. You see back when we got out of the bear market, as soon as we crossed into the green here, you can see almost immediately we start vectoring out of the range and sending on up for the bull run. And right now we certainly have been washing around in here, struggling to get a clean confirmation to one side or another. But this was flipped green just a second ago. I guess it flipped back into the red, so you can see just how close we are to flipping on our money flow here. We are right up against that line. So yeah, any move up here is going to flip that into the green and could signal a rally to the upside. And you can see this has flipped back into the green right now. So clearly we are bouncing right up against that indicator, flipping bullish for us on the daily time frame, which could signal the start of that final rally in Bitcoin. Jumping into Coin Inc. now, we were talking about this open interest versus CVD. Which direction are people opening leverage positions? It has been short throughout this entire range, but what we did see on this uptrend here locally, we did see net longs were going up and price was following, which is what you want to see. As we talked about, we don't just want to immediately see a short squeeze. We need to see buyers stepping in at first, showing that buying pressure before we can have open interest drop and that bigger short squeeze later on. At least that is what I would prefer to see on the charts. Doesn't mean that it has to happen that way. And we are also seeing buyers step in on limit orders here. You can see all these green boxes are limit orders being placed on Binance. They're around, 100 to 500 Bitcoin a piece. So that is really good to see there. We are seeing sellers though as well. This was on OKX. Sellers are filling their limit orders up at these highs and price is rejecting off of them. You would have remembered in my last video, there was a whole bunch of sellers within this whole kind of area here, a bunch of red boxes from short limits in the order books that are no longer there. So we do have clear skies ahead of us as of right now. And these highs we just made, I do not believe were good highs. I think this needs to get grabbed. I don't think that's going to be a top into the imbalances and then we pull back here. No, I fully expect price to squeeze up past this. I can tell there was unfinished business in this area because of what I'm seeing here on the order flow. If we jump in here to trading light on the footprint chart, you can see at the top of these wicks, we had buyers and sellers auctioning at these levels. There was no finished auction. There was no failed auction. That means that price is likely to accept back up above this level to finally finish off the auction or just continue on up, squeezing past 72K, something like that. These orders we were talking about, the sell orders, you can see we're all right here. They all got removed around the same time, so real interesting to see there. Would not be surprised if this is some sort of algo trying to push down price so they can fill long positions. You can see when these orders come out of the order book, you do see spoof buy walls being placed in, so this certainly could be some sort of algo that was forcing down price so they could limit in lower, and they are now filming their their positions here in this area. And we do see somewhat of a failed auction within this range. Certainly not clean, but we do have some big sell imbalances getting absorbed at this level, and you are not able to accept back through these seller imbalances. You do see people placing their big long limits above this imbalance. So that's what they're using as an invalidation, in my opinion. Enter right there, put your stop behind this imbalance, because if price is able to get under this, that would signal we are actually bearish. So this is a pretty good entry there. We'll see if he actually does get filled at the pixel bottom, or if price does actually, get below those imbalances, and then we're looking for that kind of golden pocket to hold, as we were talking about at the beginning of the video. As long as price can just kind of hold this golden pocket on some closes, this is absolutely acceptable, and I almost expect it to happen. Now that it is Monday, let's talk about the S&P. Is the S&P starting off bullish or bearish for the week? And so far, so good. You can see we have retraced back up in here, going for all-time highs once again. And what is really nice to see here on the chart is that we did not just see a clear rejection on any of these fib levels. We are actually back testing the golden pocket into support right here. That is really nice to see. So now we definitely just want to see this hold. We don't really want to see the S&P get under this and flip it into resistance. That could be a warning sign right there. But so far so good. I do fully expect the S&P to go back up into price discovery. Looking at our daily time frame, this does just look like it wants to launch into outer space and finish off that last wave of the parabola. You can see each of these uptrends have been getting steeper, and I expect this last trend to be no different. You can see each of these lines of attack, these trends on the S&P here have been getting steeper. If we just pull these three trends, swing low to swing high on the S&P here, you can see 55 degrees, 71 degrees, and right now 73 degrees, and I actually expect this to line up with this high right here, which would put us at around 77 degree uptrend on the S&P for more of that blow off top. And this is where we do see that final top potentially coming in. We don't have much time left. These parabolas don't last forever, but I do fully expect one last wave of the S&P, which is where you should see max euphoria in the retail markets, and all of your risk on assets should start diverging from Bitcoin, which is something we have not really seen yet. If we look at total 3-year altcoin market versus Bitcoin, you can see that the altcoin market has been underperforming Bitcoin consistently through this range within here, which is unusual for crypto, especially when you do start breaking all-time highs on something like Bitcoin. Jumping back in here to 2021, you can see when we get to the top of our ranges here, altcoin market is massively outperforming Bitcoin. We do have big divergences, lower highs on Bitcoin, higher highs on the altcoin market. You see this continually throughout the distribution range. You see this even right here in the correction I believe we're kind of in the market right now. Bitcoin is going down, altcoin market is going up. You really have to go all the way back to the start of the altcoin market here to see total 3 underperforming the Bitcoin price. And what is interesting is this right here is actually right around where we could be in the market. This is after Bitcoin broke its 2017 all-time high, and it is certainly possible we are just that early on the cycle, and we are ready to start the entire parabola for the altcoin market, and we really are about to see generational wealth and this whole dot-com bubble really play out for crypto, where the entire market just goes ballistic for the next 100 days or so. As we can see here, from this low to the top, it was about 116 days. So this does align with one of my theses that we are going to have a blow off top going into election season. And this is what I'm really hoping for here, but I do not want to be biased on this channel. There is a more bear case that could be playing out potentially if this is not a true bull market and it is more of a larger bear market rally. The other place you do see altcoins massively underperforming Bitcoin was back in the 2019 bear market rally. We can see here, if we zoom in, you do see Bitcoin holding its range fairly nicely within here, whereas the altcoin market is downtrending pretty heavily within this whole range, and you don't really see any altcoin rally at all. Bitcoin essentially outperforms the altcoin market the entire time during this rally because smart investors are just seeking safety in something like Bitcoin, and they don't want to risk it in your altcoins. And that's why you see Bitcoin massively outperforming throughout this entire rally, and we could be in a similar time right now. Something to note: during this time on Bitcoin, you had market dynamics that are similar to right now. What am I talking about? Well, that is going to be the Federal Reserve's interest rate. Let me go ahead and actually pull this up on a new pane down below. Essentially, you can see that every time Bitcoin has started a bull run in the past, we have seen the Fed funds rate below 1%. Back here in 2017 and in 2021, it got pretty much all the way down to 0 at 0.2. And you see this massive run while the Fed rate is down. Whereas in 2019, when we had this rally, it was at the top of a hiking cycle when the Fed was pausing. So the pause was a catalyst for money to go back into the markets. But when you see them cut is when you need to be worried. And you can see this cut signaled the drop in markets. And we are seeing a very similar thing right now. We went through a hiking cycle, and while we have been paused is when this rally has happened. And what we want to be watching out for now is when the Fed is going to cut. We have FOMC meeting this Wednesday, and I will be going live for that. I'm going to be doing a live stream on this channel, so be looking out for that. I'll remind you guys tomorrow for that stream. It's going to be around noon EST time is when they have those Fed meetings. So I just wanted to let you guys know that real quick. But yeah, the altcoin market does look eerily similar to 2019 when compared to this federal funds rate, and just looking at price action. If we go ahead and pull up these fractals here, you can see I have 2019 total 3, 2019 Bitcoin on the top and bottom here, whereas current price is in the middle for both of these asset classes. And we do see total 3 is looking somewhat similar to that top in 2019, as well as Bitcoin is also looking somewhat similar to that 2019 top after the bear market rally. We can also look at others. This is the altcoin market excluding the top 10 cryptocurrencies, and this one is even looking more similar. You can see others in 2019 looks very close to current price action, underperforming Bitcoin at the highs, and it is possible that we are just seeing a bear market rally right now. And you might say that's not possible because we have broken all-time highs, but if you remember back in 2021, people said there's no way this is a bear market rally because we broke all-time highs then, but then it turned out to roll over and make a bit of a double top. So could this rally actually just be a bear market one? And it certainly could be, and that is why you might be seeing smart money not want to go ahead and buy up all these altcoins. They're limiting their risk to just Bitcoin, and that's why you have seen Bitcoin do really well against the altcoin market so far. And lastly, we'll look at some bearish fractals comparing our Bitcoin rally right now compared to the Bitcoin rally in 2021, looking at that Wyckoff distribution schematics and how these fractals can be rhyming. You know, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme, so we want to be keeping our eye on these things. You can see I have put the 2020-2021 rally on top of Bitcoin price and tried to measure it up to give a case if we were topped right now. Does it look similar to 2021? And the fractals don't lie. We could be seeing a top coming in here on Bitcoin. I've also zoomed into the 4-hour time frame. You can see Bitcoin is fractaling something very similar. You see, again, 2021 is on top versus current price is down below. I've drawn out these squares to show like the differences in the fractal, you know, because stuff doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So we are seeing similar price action happening in the market. And something to take note of is we did have poor highs back in 2021, but it did not get swept to the upside. So there is a small chance that these highs right now, even though they're poor, do not have to get swept, and we could roll over here on Bitcoin and the top could already be in. But I'm just saying all of that to give you guys both sides of the story. We don't want to be biased on this channel. I want to give you all the data that I am seeing on the charts and look at both sides of the equation. My base case still remains the same though. I do believe we're going to see a short squeeze, and even if we are making a Wyckoff distribution, I believe we are going to have an upthrust to squeeze all of those shorts before the final top does come in, and we will finally see those risk on assets fly. Those good projects in the altcoin market I do think are going to have their time to shine, even if Bitcoin is near the top right now. And like I stated earlier in this video, we might just be starting the biggest bull run in crypto's history, and we could have another 100, 120, 150 days of an absolutely parabolic rally into trillions of dollars in market cap, forming a blow-off top similar to 2017 into that election season. And if you do have any questions about anything I talked about in this video, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.